Hello and welcome to Drishti Today's GK. In this segment, we bring to you MCQs to practice for upcoming prelims. My name is Neil. Let's begin. Let's begin with the previous day question which we gave to you yesterday. Consider the following statements with respect to quantum key distribution 𝐾𝐾D. 1. 𝐾𝐾D provides a way of distributing and sharing secret keys that are necessary for cryptographic protocols. 2. In 𝐾𝐾D, encryption keys are sent as quantum bits in an optical fiber. 3. The encryption in 𝐾𝐾D will be unbreakable because the data is carried by electrons and it cannot be perfectly copied. Now, quantum key distribution was in news. Why? Because security in communications has been a rising concern in India as well as across the world, and this is said to be the most secure, one of the most secure ways of communicating. Why? Because the communication will be done via photons in the optical fibers, and anyone, if one tries to intervene in that communication, will leave a trace. So, this statement is wrong. While it is a way of distributing and sharing secret keys that are necessary for cryptographic protocols is a correct statement, while they are sent as quantum bits, and that is why this name is quantum key distribution. So, this statement is also correct. 1 and 2 are correct, 3 is wrong. So, answer will be option B. Let us have a look at the explanation. Recently, the government has inaugurated CDOTS, that is Center for Development of Telematics, Quantum Communication Lab, and unveiled the indigenously developed quantum key distribution solution. The 𝐾𝐾D is a mechanism to develop secure communication. It provides a way of distributing and sharing secret keys that are necessary for cryptographic protocols. Hence, statement 1 is correct. In 𝐾𝐾D, the encryption keys are sent as qubits or quantum bits in an optical fiber. Optical fibers are capable of transmitting more data over longer distances and faster than other mediums. It works on the principle of total internal reflections. Hence, statement 2 is also correct. 3. Regarding statement 3, in the 𝐾𝐾D, the encryption is unbreakable, and that's mainly because of the way data is carried via the photon. A photon cannot be perfectly copied, and any attempt to measure it will disturb it. This means that a person trying to intercept the data will leave a trace. Hence, statement 3 is not correct. Let us move to the first question of this episode. Consider the following statements. 1. TB is caused by a virus, mycovirus tuberculosis, that most often affects the lungs. 2. TB spreads from person to person through the air. 3. Persons living with HIV are the most vulnerable among all those TB patient groups. Now, first thing, TB is not caused by a virus. It is a very infamous bacterial disease caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So, statement 1 is wrong. Yes, we know that it spreads via air, person to person, it is communicable. So, statement 2 is right. And HIV, since it stands for immunodeficiency, so HIV patients are very much susceptible to TB, and hence they are most vulnerable. Statement 3 also stands correct. Let us look at the options. 2 and 3 statements were correct, and the first one was wrong, that it is a bacterial disease. So, let us have a look at the explanation. A WHO report said that in 2020, more people died of TB, with far fewer people being diagnosed and treated or provided with preventive treatment compared with 2019, and overall spending on essential TB services falling. TB is caused by a bacteria, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, that most often affects the lungs. Hence, statement 1 is incorrect. Now, TB spreads from person to person through the air. Hence, statement 2 is correct, and people living with HIV are indeed most vulnerable among all those TB patient groups. Hence, statement 3 is also correct. Moving on further, question number 2, consider the following statements regarding Global Hunger Index 2021. 1. It is released by the Food and Agricultural Organization annually. 2. In the index, India has been placed in the 101st position out of 116 countries. 3. In 2021 edition, India has been placed behind Pakistan. Now, first thing, Global Hunger Index is not released by FAO, but is released by Welthunger Hilfe. So statement 1 is incorrect. 2 says that India has been placed at 101st position. This is indeed true, and that is why this has been in news recently. India has raised a dispute over the methodology, and in 2021 edition, at 101st position, India also stands behind Pakistan. So 2 and 3 statements are correct. Option C is the answer. Let us have a look at the explanation. Recently, Government of India challenged India's poor ranking in Global Hunger Index 2021 and the methodology used, calling it devoid of ground reality and facts. Global Hunger Index is an annual report jointly published by, I just mentioned World Hunger 𝐏𝐿. It is jointly published by Concern Worldwide and World Hunger 𝐏𝐿. Hence, statement 1 stands incorrect. In the index, India has been placed in 101st position out of 116 countries. Hence, statement 2 is correct. And in 2021 edition, as we mentioned, India has been placed behind Pakistan. So, statement 3 is also correct. Moving on to the next question. Consider the following statements. 1. Stubble burning is an act of setting fire to crop residue to remove them from the field to sow the next crop. 2. Bio-decomposer is a solution which, if sprayed in fields, decomposes straw and stubble into manure. We have to find the correct statements. 1. We know stubble burning again comes into news whenever the winter arrives, and winter is coming. So, it is the process of setting fire to the crop residue to make the field ready for the next crop. So, statement 1 is correct. Also, bio-decomposer was in news especially since last year when Pusa Institute developed a certain kind of bio-decomposer, which is nothing else but the fungal strains and certain enzymes which dissolve these crop residues and makes the field ready for the next crop, as well as turns the stubble into manure. So, both these statements are correct, and hence answer would be option C, 1 and 2. Let us have a look at the explanation. There is a 70% reduction so far in instances of stubble burning in Punjab and 18% in Haryana from last year, according to a recent report by the Commission for Air Quality Management. Stubble or parali burning is the act of setting fire to crop residue to remove them from field to sow the next crop. Hence, statement 1 is correct. Bio-decomposer, which is a solution, if sprayed in fields, decomposes straw and stubble in manure. So, statement 2 is also correct. Let us move on to the next question. Consider the following statements regarding silicosis. 1. It mainly occurs in people engaged in quarrying, manufacturing and building construction industries. 2. It is an occupational disease or hazard. 3. It is a notified disease under the Mines Act 1952. We have to find out which of the statements are correct. Now, silicosis is often found in people who work at places where there is so much pollution, air pollution, due to the activities that are being undertaken there, like quarrying, manufacturing and construction industries. So, statement 1 stands correct, and since it is mostly related to people working at such sites or in such occupations, it is considered a occupational hazard. So, it is also correct. Also, Factories Act 1948 as well as Mines Act 1952. Mines Act 52, it particularly notifies this disease. So, statement 3 also stands correct. All of these statements are correct, hence answer is option D. Let us have a look at the explanation. In India, countless workers engaged in mines, construction and factories are silently dying of exposure to dust. This is better referred to as silicosis. It is a progressive lung disease caused by inhalation of silica over a long period of time, characterized by shortness of breath, cough, fever and bluish skin. Hence, statement 1 is correct. It is also reported from the population with non-occupational exposure to silica dust from industrial as well as non-industrial sources. Hence, statement 2 is also correct. And Factory Act of 1948 as well as the Mines Act, which we discussed in the question, mandates a well-ventilated working environment, provisions for protection from dust, reduction of overcrowding and provision of basic occupational health care. Hence, statement 3 is also correct. Moving on to the next question. Consider the following statements regarding the Global Climate Risk Index 2021. 1. It is released by the World Meteorological Organization (WMO). 2. It ranks countries on the basis of their preparedness against weather-related hazards. 3. India has ranked among the 5 worst affected countries for consecutively 2 years. 4. the index calculates the impact of weather-related events in terms of both fatalities and economic losses. Now let us have a look at these statements. So, Global Climate Risk Index is a flagship report of not WMO but German Watch, and so statement 1 is incorrect. It ranks countries on the basis of not their preparedness but what the impact climate events had on the infrastructure or on the geography of the nations. So, statement 2 is also incorrect. India has not ranked among the 5 worst countries this year. It is actually at the 7th position this time, though last year it was at the 5th position. So, statement 3 is also incorrect. And the 4th one says that it calculates the impact of weather-related events in terms of both fatalities and economic losses. Yes, so this is true. Only statement 4 is true. So, let us have a look at the options. Option C, which says only 4 is correct, is the right answer. Let us have a look at the explanation. Recently, the international environmental think tank German Watch released the Global Climate Risk Index 2021. Hence, statement 1 is incorrect. 2. The index analyzes the extent to which the countries and regions have been affected by impacts of weather-related loss events like storms, floods, heat waves, etc. Hence, statement 2 is also incorrect. The impact is calculated in terms of fatalities and economic losses. Hence, statement 4 is correct. And India has improved its ranking from last year. It ranked 7th this time as compared to 5th in 2020 index. Hence, statement 3 is not correct. Let us move on to the next question. Question number 6 says, recently the Perseverance rover was in the news, landed on the floor of which of the following celestial bodies? Now, this rover, it recently sent a photograph from Mars. Hence, we know the answer that it landed on Mars. Let us have a look at the explanation. The first scientific analysis of images taken by NASA's Perseverance rover has now confirmed that Mars' Jezero crater, which today is a dry, wind-eroded depression, was once a quiet lake fed steadily by a small river some 3.7 billion years ago. Hence, option B is correct. Let us know something about Perseverance rover. It was launched in 2020 aboard a United Launch Alliance Atlas V. On February 18, 2021, the Perseverance rover landed on the floor of Jezero crater. Moving on to the next question, consider the following statements regarding single-use plastics or SUPs. 1. The first category of SUP items proposed to be phased out are plastic sticks used in balloons, flags, candy, ice cream, and earbuds, and thermocol that is used in decorations. 2. The second category proposed to be banned from July 1, 2022 includes items such as plates, cups, glasses, and cutlery, wrapping and packing films used in sweet boxes, invitation cards, cigarette packets, stirrers, and plastic banners that are less than 100 microns in thickness. 3 says a third category of prohibition is for non-woven bags below 240 microns in thickness. So we have to find out the correctness of these statements. So we know that since long government has been discouraging the use of single-use plastic, and the first category which is proposed to be phased out, they are the plastic sticks which are very thin and are used basically in balloons, flags, ice candy, packing sets, and at all. So 1 is correct. The second category which will be banned is the plastic which are less than 100 microns in thickness, and that will kick in, this prohibition will kick in from July 1, 2022. So statement 2 is also correct. And the third category which will kick in, the prohibition over which will kick in the September of this year is for the plastic which is above, which is below 240 microns of thickness. So this statement is also correct. Since all of the 3 statements are correct, the answer is option D. Let us have a look at the explanation. India will ban most single-use plastics by next year as part of its effort to reduce pollution, but experts say the move is only a first step to mitigate the environmental impact. A government committee has identified the single-use plastic items to be banned based on an index of their utility and environmental impact. It has proposed a 3-stage ban. The first category of SUP items proposed to be phased out are plastic sticks used in balloons, flags, candy, ice cream, and earbuds, and thermocol that is used in decorations. Hence, statement 1 is correct. The second category proposed to be banned from July 1, 2022 includes items such as plates, cups, glasses and cutlery such as forks, spoons, knives, straws, trays, wrapping and packing films used in sweet boxes, invitation cards, cigarette packets, stirrers and plastic banners that are less than 100 microns in thickness. Hence, statement 2 is also correct. A third category of prohibition is for non-woven bags below 240 microns in thickness. This is proposed to start from September next year. Hence, statement 3 is also correct. Let us move on to the next question. Consider the following statements regarding Nihangs. 1. They do not profess any allegiance to an earthly master. 2. Instead of saffron, they hoist a blue Nishan Sahib flag atop their shrines. We have to find out the correct statement. Now we know Nihangs, they belong to the Khalsa tradition of Sikhism, and it is true that they do not profess any allegiance to earthly master. So, statement 1 is correct. Now, they are recognizable by their blue attire which they wear, and also they hoist a blue Nishan Sahib instead of the usual saffron which we find on Gurudwaras. So, statement 2 is also correct. Since both of these statements are correct, the answer is option C. Let us have a look at the explanation. Last year, a group of Nihangs had chopped off the hand of a policeman in Patiala with a sword after he asked them to show movement passes during COVID lockdown. This year, they have again killed a man near Singhu border in New Delhi, allegedly for desecrating a sacred text. They belong to the glorious tradition of Khalsa, but unfortunately, since past some time, they have been in news due to some not so good reasons. So let us discuss who are Nihangs. Nihang is an order of Sikh warriors. They are characterized by blue robes, antiquated arms such as swords and spears, and decorated turbans surmounted by steel cords. And how are they different from other Sikhs and other Sikh warriors? So they observe the Khalsa code of conduct in its strictest sense. They do not profess any allegiance to an earthly master, hence statement 1 is correct. And instead of saffron, they hoist a blue Nishan Sahib flag atop their shrines. So statement 2 is also correct. Moving on to the next question. Which of the following are covered under AMRUT Mission 2.0? 1. Adopt the principles of circular economy. 2. Promote conservation and rejuvenation of surface and groundwater bodies. 3. Data-led governance in water management. 4. Technology submission to leverage latest global technologies and skills. 5. 𝐾𝐨 सर्वेक्षण to promote competition among cities. Now, AMRUT Mission 2.0 was recently launched with much fanfare, and these are all the features of Urban Mission 2.0, that there will be a circular economy, that there will be multiple uses of the same water for personal uses and then household uses and so on and so forth. So, it will promote circular economy, conservation and rejuvenation of surface water is a priority. Data would be used in better management of water resources, and technology submissions have been included to leverage the global technologies and skills in this sector, and 𝐾𝐨 सर्वेक्षण has been especially highlighted in this scheme to promote competition and hence better use and better policies regarding water use in cities under this mission. So let us have a look at the options first. All of these statements are correct, so answer is option D. Now let us have a look at the explanation. The Union Cabinet has approved the Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation 2.0, that is AMRUT 2.0, till 25-26. This is a step towards Atmanirbhar Bharat, intending to make the cities water secure and self-sustainable through a circular economy of water. What is AMRUT 2.0? It intends at 100% coverage of water supply to all households in around 4,700 urban local bodies by providing around 68 crore tap connections, 100% coverage of sewerage and septage in 500 AMRUT cities by providing around 64 crore sewers or septage connections, adopting the principles of circular economy, that is, generating wealth from waste using 3 R's, promoting conservation and rejuvenation of surface and groundwater bodies, data-led governance in water management, technology submission to leverage latest technologies and skills, 𝐾𝐨 सर्वेक्षण to promote competition among cities were the options which we discussed, hence option D was correct. Moving on to the last question of this episode, consider the following statements regarding One Health Consortium. 1. It envisages carrying out surveillance of important bacterial, viral and parasitic infections of zoonotic as well as transboundary pathogens in the country. 2. The project looks into the use of existing diagnostic tests and development of additional methodologies for surveillance and understanding the spread of emerging diseases. So, One Health Consortium was recently in news. Why? Because it points out towards an understanding that the health is a comprehensive paradigm. It should be seen in a comprehensive paradigm, and human health is not separate or entirely different from its surroundings. So, yes, it envisages carrying out surveillance of several parasitic infections, zoonotic as well as transboundary pathogens in the country. So, statement 1 stands correct, and it looks in the uses of existing diagnostic text as well as developing additional methodologies for surveillance so as to understand the emerging diseases, especially in context of the COVID pandemic, which has disturbed the whole world since last few time. So, both of these statements are correct, hence answer is option C, both 1 and 2. Let us have a look at the explanation. The Department of Biotechnology, remember, the Department of Biotechnology has launched a One Health Consortium. This is the first One Health project of DBT. About the project, it envisages carrying out surveillance of important bacterial, viral and parasitic infections of zoonotic as well as transboundary pathogens in the country. Hence, statement 1 is correct. The project also looks into use of existing diagnostic tests and development of additional methodologies for surveillance and understanding the spread of emerging diseases. So, statement 2 is also correct. With this, we come to the last question, which would be the practice question of the day. Consider the following statements. 1. The Conference on Interaction and Confidence Building Measures CICA Secretariat is located in Almaty. 2. The CICA is an intergovernmental forum aimed at strengthening regional cooperation and ensuring peace, security and stability in Asia. You have to find out which of the statements are correct. 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. Give the answer to this question in the comments below. We'll see you in the next episode.